ist ein Labrador. Seine Ahnentafel lässt sich bis ins Jahr 1868 zurückverfolgen. Ted Karasote hat 3 Jahre gebraucht, um ihn zu finden. Pukka ist jetzt 5. Seine Lebenserwartung vielleicht 10, vielleicht 12 Jahre. Große Hunderassen leben oft nicht länger. Viele werden sogar nicht mal 5 oder 6. Ted Karasote weigert sich jedoch, dies so einfach hinzunehmen.
Dr. Rose bred fruit flies that were each generation he picked the longest lived ones and he bred them together. And pretty soon, in terms of fruit flies, he had fruit flies that were living a lot more than the generations with which he originally started. So I asked him, could you do the same things with dogs? And he said, yes, you could. It would take much longer than with fruit flies. Each generation, you'd have to look for your slightly longer-lived dogs, only breed those, and then eventually you may have dogs who are living half a century long. Oh, we've got everyone here. Pukka, let's go. Boys, let's go. Come on. And the question arises, if we could do such a thing, if breeders were willing to do such a thing, do people really want a dog who lives 50 years? Boys? The moment you've been waiting for. Okay, let's see what we've got in our box, boys. Wow, almost nothing.
Ted Karasote ist Hundeflüsterer, sagen die Leser seiner Bücher. Und zusammen mit Pukka macht er sich auf die Reise. Das Ziel? Der langlebende Hund.
Dogs may live just long enough for a lot of us. I, on the other hand, would love if Pukka would live 20 or 25 years. I've yet to have a dog whom I thought when they died at 12 or 14 or 15 that was enough time for me. Okay. I know, it's very unbelievable to be on the human couch. Okay, come on. One time, come on, let's go. Yes. There we go. I know, it's okay. It's okay, come on. There we go. Oh my goodness, isn't this unprecedented? Yes.
Can't believe his luck.
2 turkey necks and the human couch. What a day.
The world's oldest dog turns 31.
We are, in effect, breeding them to death.
Excellent. Did you find those grouse? Oh, yes. Oh.
We can actually do something about it.
We are tracking the worms until they die.
And increase the likelihood that dogs are going to live long, healthy, happy lives. That's the goal.
I think he's had an incredibly fulfilling, happy life.
Die Teton Mountains, am Rande des Yellowstone Parks in den USA. Hier beginnt die Reise. Und hier wird sie in 10 Jahren auch enden.
I can remember the exact moment when I thought I was going to write Pukka's Promise. I had been on Merle's book tour for about 5 months, and I was in a place called Monroe, Louisiana, in the deep South, maybe 150 miles from New Orleans. And it was a rainy afternoon. I had a reading to do that night in a small bookstore. I was answering readers' emails. And in the first few years that Merle was published, it was published in 2007, I received thousands of emails. And many of them said the same refrain. Why did my dog have to die at 2 years old, at 3 years old? Why did 4 out of 5 of my golden retrievers die of cancer? And I got so many of these letters, Philip, that I was starting to think, well, why do our dogs die so young? Why don't they live as long as elephants? Why don't they live as long as whales? And so I started right there Googling around on my laptop and doing some research, and it became quickly apparent that there was a general consensus about why dogs don't live as long as they might. I think we have a cat here too, coming to inspect us, Geb. They're often here. There they are, right there. Oh my goodness gracious, look at that. Oh, look at that, hundreds of bison, sir. There they are. Oh, so exciting. And so, how can we raise our dogs so they have not only the longest life possible in years, but also qualitatively the best life possible? Pukka's Promise, The Quest for Longer-Lived Dogs, is, as its title suggests, my way of looking at the 6 factors that influence dog longevity. And these would be inbreeding, nutrition, over-vaccination, a dog's exposure to environmental pollutants. Here in North America, how the shelter system works, killing too many healthy dogs unnecessarily. And finally, the freedom, the amount of freedom that dogs enjoy. And the book explores these 6 factors in detail while describing how I've tried to raise Pukka in the healthiest way possible. Got some burger right there. And then look at this. Elk rib bones. Oh, my goodness. Yes, the best. Okay. Oh, waiting. Kibble is made by and large from grain, from corn, from wheat, from barley. When dogs eat carbohydrates that are rich in soluble sugars, their blood sugar spikes. And it's been shown that through many experiments that in many species, from little worms, to monkeys, to dogs, to people, that those individuals who keep their blood sugar at the low end of normal tend to have longer lifespans than those individuals who don't. One way to do that is to feed them protein. The reason that I feed Pukka turkey necks is that the ligaments and tendons in this raw turkey neck, it won't splinter and cause any injury to the dog, but these ligaments and tendons, please wait, clean a dog's teeth just like dental floss. When I feed Pukka elk, I'll also chop in vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, spinach, kale, because they have antioxidants and phytochemicals that help to prevent certain forms of cancer in dogs, particularly bladder cancer, just the way they do in human beings. The vegetables also provide roughage that help in a dog's digestion. Dogs, unlike wolves, don't eat the entire animal with the hair and the fur, which in wolves provide roughage to help in their digestion. And so I add vegetables to Pukka's diet. And he's being enormously patient, waiting for this turkey neck. There you go. Hey, out you go. Oh my goodness, Pukka, what a great turkey neck. You're really enjoying that. And look, we have AJ here who smelled it and is coming to get one of his own. Yeah. The data is very good that those which has more autonomy has a longer lifespan. I've used this evidence to argue for dogs having more freedom. What do you think? Here, as you've said, it's a blessed condition. The dogs come and go out the dog door. You saw dogs come in and visit. Oh, AJ's got it. Very good, AJ. Very good. Very good. Oh, and here's Burley. Oh, we've got everyone here. Sometimes I'll come down here in the morning and I'll find AJ or Burley sleeping on the couch where you're sitting. They've spent the night here. They've just left their house and thought, well, I'm gonna go spend the night at Pukka's house. This is a remarkable thing in today's world for a dog to do. Pukka's having the freedom to walk out after breakfast and be gone for an hour. He feels like he's directing his own life. He gets to make his decisions during a large part of the day about where he's going to go, who he's going to see. He is not in a master-servant relationship to me. And I know that we who live here are very, very lucky people to have a dog door, to let our dogs out so they can roam on their own. So people who live in cities, I always say, have a much harder time being dog people because they have to make the effort to take the dog on a leash, take the dog for a walk, take him to a park. I remember when I was in Munich at the Englischergarten seeing all the dogs free roaming there and let the dog have an hour, a half hour of directing its own activity, playing with the dogs it chooses to play with, going where it wants to go, and you be the follower for a change. Okay, enough. And so, will this give him a longer life? Will it give AJ and Burley longer lives? no one knows. I do think it makes for happier dogs.
Freiheit als das höchste Gut. In vielen Ländern leben Hunde noch wie früher. Nah genug am Menschen, um von ihnen zu profitieren, ohne ihm aber zu gehören. Seitdem der Mensch den Hund als Begleiter nicht nur schätzen gelernt hat, sondern auch mit ihm Geld, Ruhm und Ehre verdienen kann, beginnt und endet ein Hundeleben häufig in Gehorsam und Unfreiheit.
Perdona? Quanto cuesta?
1.600. 1.600.
How old? ¿Cuántos meses?
4 meses.
Die 185 bitte.
so hin. Und zum Schluss gucke ich mir immer die Zähne an. 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6. Da sind die Prämolaren sogar drin.
So langsam, bitte langsam, langsam gehen, gehen, gehen.
Hunde wollen gebraucht werden. Viele wollen gefallen. Aber nicht alle haben wirklich Freude daran. Was macht den Hund glücklich? Und wie könnte er das signalisieren, wenn man ihm seine Route abschneidet? Ganz bewusst.
Come here. Oh, she's gonna come see you. Bella. Come here.
What kind of dogs are they?
They're miniature Australian Shepherds. She's actually a toy Australian Shepherd. I raise them, so they're basically just smaller versions of the Australian Shepherd. There are a few in Germany. One of my customers who exports miniatures into Germany has sent a couple of puppies that we've had over there. So in Germany, they have to have tails. So if somebody wanted one from Germany, they have to put a deposit on them before the tails are cut, and the tails are cut about 3 days. So that's just a procedure that's done here in the U.S. and not accepted in some other countries. So
they really cut the tail off.
yeah, it's when they're babies, it's just like really cartilage, like you do it at like 1-2 days old. So it's really soft cartilage, and then it develops into bone. So you want to do it really quickly, so that there's not a lot of pain involved with it. In the United States, it's a breed standard. If this dog had a long tail, somebody would think that you didn't do what you were supposed to do. And that is just because it's a standard here. And, you know, different countries have different standards, you know. Different words mean the same thing in different countries, so it's just an accepted practice in the United States, whereas in Germany, not so much. They're called wiggle butts here, so when you talk to them, they... So...
There's something missing, right?
Yeah. I mean, in theory, yes. It's all I've ever known them to be is without one.
How many are there?
There's 4. This is a little boy.
How old are they?
They are 3 days old.
They still have their tail, right?
Yeah, so they will be cut today.
How do you do that?
It's a surgical procedure, and you can band them, and then they're cut. Most of the time they're sutured on the end. And that's a common practice or standard in the United States. So
if you wouldn't do that, then would you lose your...
The market, yes. In the United States, it's almost as if you're not doing what you're supposed to do if you don't cut the tail. So
How much will they be?
They range anywhere from $500 to $1,400. Depends on sex, color, usually, and the color of their eyes. So the males, the tri-males being the least expensive, and the blue merle females being the most expensive. And I explain it to, a lot of times I have dads or husbands call and price, and they're trying to price for their wife or their kids, and it's hard sometimes to understand the price difference, and so it's becomes supply and demand, really. So, but how I explain to them is the blonde that's a 10 costs more than, to keep up and all the maintenance than the rest of us. So that's what we call the blue merle females, are the 10. And then there's just the rest of us fall in underneath that. Hi, Della. Yeah.
Do you do line breeding?
I try to keep everything, and you know, I don't know. I don't know what I think about that. I have not done that. Everything I breed is unrelated. So, and I have some lines that, you know, I have some really nice lines that maybe I would think about crossing back, but I just haven't. It's just not worth the risk to me. I mean, I know it works for some people. You know, I'm kind of one of those people, if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. So I tend to not, you know, take risks with necessary things that maybe I could avoid, so. We're going to the vet office to go have the puppy's tails cut off. It should take maybe 10 minutes per puppy. They'll take off their dew claws and then cut the tail. When they cut the tail, they band it so that it doesn't bleed, and then they'll put a stitch in it. And then they take off the front dew claws.
You feel sorrow for them in that moment?
Maybe I've become callous. I mean, initially it was a little difficult for me to do. And, you know, I used to have boxers. They cut the ears on boxers and cut their tails too. I don't like cutting the ears. I think it's, you know, it takes them a long time to recover and for the ears to stand. I know other people, it does bother them somewhat. So maybe I've just had several litters and done it more, so now it does not bother me. But initially it did, so. You know, anytime anything cries, it's, you know, it bleeds at your heartstrings, whether it's they want food, they want to go to the bathroom, whatever. When you love animals, you know, anytime they cry, I think it bothers you a little bit, so.
Lang, gesund und glücklich. Ein Hundeleben? Im Hund steckt noch viel Wolf, auch in einem Labrador. Der Wolf muss auf die Jagd gehen, um zu überleben. Auch Pukka geht jagen. Auerhähne.
Oh, gonna find those grouse? Should we find those grouse? Oh, yes. Oh, oh my goodness. Oh, ready? Let's go. Yes, let's go. Let's find those grouse. Come on. Hunt them up. Hunt them up. Yes. Right here. Come here. Yes, come on. And Pukka and I have seen wolves right out on these flats in the wintertime, never in the summer. So there are quite a few wolves in this area. They've really proliferated since 1995 when the reintroduction in Yellowstone National Park occurred, bringing wolves from Canada. And since then, we've got dozens of wolf packs throughout Montana and Idaho and Wyoming. He's chased coyotes and he chases foxes, but if he chased a wolf, he might regret it because the wolf could easily turn on him and kill him. You are... Yes, Pukka.
So you shot one?
No, I missed. The wolves will get a maximum of about 8 to 12 years in the wild. Their average lifespan is 3 to 4 years, and that's because a wolf has such a dangerous life. He will, or she, will be killed by other wolves in territorial battles. They are killed by the elk and the bison they hunt. They're kicked in the head. They're gored with the elk's antlers. They die in avalanches in the wintertime, and they sometimes drown when they're fording rivers. So you can see that captivity really has its benefits. Out in the wild, it's a hard life. And I don't think we have any documentation of a wolf in the wild who's 15 years old. It just has not happened, just because their lives are so dangerous.
Good.
Okay, sir. Let's go. One of the most important things for me is that people treat their dogs like a servant or a lesser being than themselves. This is probably a personal, aesthetic, even spiritual bent of mine. I like having a one-to-one relationship with my dog, friend to friend, and that I honor and respect Pukka as a being who has autonomy, volition, and the desire to be self-actualized. And so I will do my best to afford him the freedom and the environment so that he can develop his personality, and I have a genuine friend rather than someone whom I'm leading around on a leash and telling what to do all the time. Okay, choose. That one. Is that the one? Oh no, that one. Oh, which one is it going to be? The red one? Oh my goodness, sir. You can't choose. Which one will it be? No? 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 That one. All right. That's the best one. Very good. That took a while. Choose. It was difficult. There were 6 different ones. Yes. just the way we choose different clothes to wear, eat different things. Dogs need variety, and I do this in his diet by rotating his food through lamb and chicken and duck and bison and elk, giving him different things to eat. I also have allowed him to test all different sorts of vegetables while I'm cooking. He loves peppers, he loves cauliflower, he loves broccoli. For some reason, he disdains blueberries, won't eat them. He won't eat mushrooms, he won't eat olives. He's expressing his choices just the way we do.
Ein Hundeleben. Lang, gesund und glücklich durch Freiheit und Respekt, durch Bewegung und Ernährung. Aber all das wird zur Makulatur, wenn der Mensch zwar alles bis ins kleinste Detail plant, vom Charakter bis zum Aussehen, aber das Schöpferspielen eben weit komplexer ist, als sich das viele Hundezüchter ausmalen.
After Merle died, I didn't want a dog right away. Merle was my previous dog about whom I wrote a biography, Merle's Door. And for several years, I just wanted to remember him in every loving detail and write his book, which I did. Eventually, though, being a dog person, I wanted another dog in my life. And I thought, I would really like a dog that had some of Merle's traits, being collected, calm, in the house, a very good house dog, but also very athletic, that maybe, unlike Merle, I would find a dog who would actually hunt birds with me, because Merle did not like to hunt birds at all. He had been shot as a puppy. He was a half-wild dog whom I met in the desert of Utah on the San Juan River. And much later, when he was 8 years old, I discovered, after taking an x-ray of his shoulder, that someone had shot him way back when. He was probably stealing chickens or chasing cattle, which in that part of the world is a death sentence for a dog. And so I looked and looked, and one of my criteria was that the dog have a good background, that he was not inbred. And so I looked through many pedigrees of litters that were available at the time I was searching, and I couldn't find one. One of the most important factors is inbreeding. In other words, dogs have too many alike relatives. A grandfather mates with his daughter, that daughter mates with her father, and in human beings, this is called incest. So I'm going to show you 3 golden retrievers who were popular sires in the 1970s. This means that they were used for breeding many times. Misty Morn Sunset, Cummings Gold Rush Charlie, and Holloway Barté. And their genes were passed on and passed on. They were bred hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times until their genes are now rampant in the US Golden Retriever population. They have about 200 some odd thousand recognized descendants. How many other descendants they have, no one really knows. And so when you look at golden retrievers in the United States these days, it's hard to find one who's not related to one of those 3 popular sires. The result is that they've created an inbreeding problem for us 40 years later. The statistic on the mortality of golden retrievers from cancer is very sobering. 61% of these beloved dogs die of cancer in the United States each year. What happens is that gene pool gets narrower and narrower and narrower until the genes that are being passed on are the like genes, which means that when these recessive genes meet, they can cause any of these nasty conditions: cancers, muscle crippling diseases, blindness.
Tyler, you can't make out. Right, make out. Come on. Come on, nearly there. Nearly there. That's a good boy. Good boy. Yeah.
So when he hears somebody calling him, he can't see that person. All he can hear is the echoing in the building.
And it's coming from that direction.
From that direction, yeah.
But
so
not
he's
pinpointing it yet.
You know.
Tyler, he's going back to where he thought I was. Tyler! Good boy. Good boy. Are we running you around, are we? Poor little boy. The vet is saying that literally he can see about 2 or 3 inches out of one corner of his eye. So he's practically blind, all but for 2 or 3 inches, which he'll lose. That'll be lost in the next couple of weeks because it's deteriorating even from when he was born. His eyes are practically open and he's just gone blinder and blinder, what little sight he had. But he's trying to home in on the sound.
So how come he's blind?
Because of the blue merle genes. Double dose of blue merle.
That means?
Which means both mother and father carried the blue merle gene. That was in order to make sure every pup you get is blue merle, because the blue merle gets a higher price than the black and white or tricolour. So you spread the two together to ensure that he gets a better or 100% blue merles.
And more money.
And more money, but what's happened is 4 out of 6 have deformities, deafness and blindness, which is what's carried on the blue merle gene.
And didn't the breeder know that this is a risk?
He didn't know it was a risk. Even though it happened 2 years previous, he thought it's a one-off. And then we took the call off him a few weeks ago saying that he'd got this little puppies and they're blind, deaf. And that he'd taken to a specialist, an eye specialist to be tested. And that's when they confirmed that it's because he bred the 2 blue merles together and that is the outcome after the breeding. And I'm hoping he will not do it again. And they don't care what comes out at the other end. And then, like I said, if we hadn't taken them, what would have happened to him? He had threatened to shoot them. He probably thought it was he would have done, yeah.
Yeah, that's a regular thing around here.
That's what happens around here.
Yeah.
Because they're no good to them, they can't be worked. A lot of people, you know, they're not going to pay thousands for a blind puppy. So that's when he said, can you help?
It's almost nothing, or is it nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yep. You can see when he hears voices, his head goes from side to side, because he can hear voices, but he's not quite sure where they're coming from.
His sense of smell's good. If you walk slow, he can keep up with you. Come on. Come on. Good boy. Good boy. There. And that's how he'll be trained as he's growing. And he'll stick right to you, which is very fortunate that he's got that in the attitude and wants to stick to you. Because he's frightened. He's only a baby at the end of the day. Doesn't like being lost. Yes, I'm going with your little brothers and sister. There. You play. When he's with the others, you can't even tell there's anything wrong with any of them.
They're really cute pups, aren't they? But unfortunately, these pups are going to grow up disabled. And that's because someone was either greedy or ignorant or both. And in some ways, that sums up everything that's wrong about dog breeding. Currently, merle dogs are incredibly fashionable. They're a fantastic colouring, and that is why people are trying to breed them. But unfortunately, the gene that makes these pretty dogs is the same gene that in a double dose, if they inherit it from both parents, causes problems. Particularly, it causes blindness and deafness. So that's what went wrong with those puppies.
2007 sendete die BBC einen Film von Jemima Harrison, der womöglich so manchen Hundezüchter zum Nachdenken brachte. Der große Rest war not amused. Und das beschreibt es wohl nicht wirklich.
This film reveals for the very first time the extent of health and welfare problems in pedigree dogs.
The dogs are falling apart, and the number of genetic problems are increasing at a frightening pace.
The RSPCA is extremely concerned about the very high levels of disability, deformity and disease in pedigree dogs.
People love these animals, you know, it's like seeing a close relative falling apart. In many ways, I think that's just criminal to allow that to happen.
A dream is about to come true.
In the Dog as the guardian of pedigree dogs is a great British institution.
The vast majority of dog breeds are, and dogs in those breeds are healthy dogs.
But we've spent 2 years exploring pedigree dogs, digging deeper than ever before. And what we've uncovered is the greatest animal welfare scandal of our time.
We are, in effect, breeding them to death.
I haven't watched that for such a long time. It's quite strong, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And it is strong, but when you look back at what I did, it doesn't feel that strong in terms of what I'm saying and how I said it, because it's much more accepted now.
Yeah.
We're boring you. If we want happy, healthy, long-lived dogs, we have to remember that they are dogs. Not children, and not playthings, and not bits of dough for us to do what we want with. They need to be able to breathe properly, see properly, hear properly, run properly. We need to not burden them with silly short legs or madly long backs or a stupid amount of wrinkles just because we think that that looks pretty. We have to remember that at the end of the day, and the reason we love them so much, is that they are dogs. The internet allows people to be extremely rude, much ruder than they would be if they were sitting here. And also the dog world seems to be particularly marked by a lot of bitching, even among people who feel the same way. And I think people with too much time on their hands spend too much time on the internet. So I've announced that I'm closing the Pedigree Dogs Exposed Facebook group because it has become an arena where people are just fighting for the sake of it. And it might be something I revisit in the future, but for now it is just consuming too much of my time to run it. So I'll go back to the blog, and the advantage of having a blog is that the blogs are there for all time and very easy to find, whereas on Facebook, stories scroll off and disappear. Jakey, do you want a biscuit? Would you like a biscuit? Do not rest your head in the middle of that.
Is he called Caesar?
Oh, Jake, you ruined my flowers. Was that good? Oh, Jake, look what you did.
I have 8 dogs at the moment. Jake, we have here on the table with us. Boz, Sandy, Puppety, whose real name is Wrigley, but he never really grew out a Puppety. We have Curly Girly, whose real name is Gemma. And we have Phoebe, and there's probably another couple, Tara. I have so many dogs because I run a rescue, and the ones that stick with me are the waifs and strays that for one reason or another were not rehomed.
In your own time.
I think people are a little surprised to hear how much hands-on experience I've had with dogs myself. In fact, me and my family have had pedigree dogs all my life. Obviously I now run a rescue, and I was running a rescue before I made Pedigree Dogs Exposed.
They like it, really.
I don't believe that all dogs should be some generic brown mongrel. I don't think that's the way, but I think we have to ask ourselves very carefully why we're breeding dogs, and if we're dog lovers, we have to examine ourselves and question what we're doing to ensure that the dogs that we're producing are healthy and long-lived and have a good quality of life. And I think that's the challenge now. So you need to combine the science that we now understand with all the amazing skills that good dog breeders bring to the party. But we don't need, German Shepherds that are crippled by the age of 6. This boy is an English Setter cross. Now he's now, ridiculously, English Setters are now an endangered breed in the UK and are very inbred, and quite a lot of evidence that they have fertility problems and lower litter sizes because of inbreeding. When people are collecting money, coins, they like the ones from 150 years ago that are bent. It's the one-off that was wrong on when they minted it. And here you have something completely unique. There'll never be another Jake, and I can celebrate him for that. At least I hope there won't be another Jake. He's a trial, aren't you?
Lange, gesund, glücklich. Ein Hundeleben. Seit dem Film Pedigree Dogs Exposed können Züchter und Zuchtverein, aber auch Hundekäufer eines nicht mehr behaupten: Sie hätten davon nichts gewusst. Aber hat sich wirklich etwas verändert? Wie viel, vor allem Zeit, muss man investieren, um einen gesunden Hund zu bekommen, der lange und glücklich lebt?
There's a picture of Pukka's mother, Abby, with her litter. Yeah, right there is where Pukka is. And then this is Pukka when he's 7 weeks old. I visited him when he was 1 day old, and then I visited him 7 weeks later and picked him out. There's a picture of him when he was 7 weeks old, and me. Here's another picture of Pukka's mother, who looks extraordinarily like Merle, which is one of the reasons that I chose this litter, just because the resemblance was uncanny and her temperament was very much like Merle's, very calm, very collected. My contention, as well as many other dog people's contention, is what you see in the parent dogs is very likely what you will get in their offspring. So one day I was in Minnesota, southern Minnesota, and I had been looking at litters, and I had heard about this dog named Abby in a little farm there in Essig, Minnesota, and I went and visited the farmer who had this dog, and she was in her whelping box, and she had 11 puppies, and I went in, and she came out and greeted me and was very friendly and escorted me to the whelping box, stood there, looked up at me and said, "Look what I did." And she looked so much like Merle, and she had that calm, really friendly demeanor. And I thought, well, if she ever has another litter. So here is Pukka's pedigree, which I put together with the help of a dog breeder in West Virginia named Debbie Kay, who's a great student of Labrador retrievers. So we did this both with the help of online databases and library material. And so on this end, you see Pukka. Here is his dad, Taylor, who's right in that picture. His mom, Abby, whom we saw pictures of. And here is his father's line stretching back this way. And here is his mother's line stretching back this way through some very famous American Labrador retrievers, Super Chief, Eben Starleen Mac, Pukka's grandfather, Dewey Drake of New Moon, was the national field trial champion. And you go all the way back to these dogs like Peter of Foscali in 1908, a British champion, and one of the very first recorded Labrador retrievers, Netherby Bosun, who was born in 1868 in England, 30 generations back from Pukka. And I used a computer program to calculate Pukka's coefficient of inbreeding, which is a way to determine how inbred a dog is. It's a number from 0 to 100, and Pukka's was very low at 2.2. One way to avoid having the tragedy of a dog dying too young on you is to look at a dog's pedigree, the parent's pedigree, before you invest in one of their puppies, making sure that they are not too inbred. We drove back here. We had a drive that I had planned in order to introduce him right away to every possible stimulus. So the first day we drove from Minnesota to Rapid City. I don't know, it's probably about a 500-mile drive. Went into the motel. He walked in with me off the leash, followed me in. I put him up on the counter. The next day, we drove to Yellowstone National Park, and we spent 2 days there looking at wolves and bears. He heard his first wolves howling. He saw grizzly bears. He saw moose and elk and bison. As close as I am to you, he saw bison right outside the car.
Oh, listen to them. Oh, isn't that exciting? Listen.
I'm sure you would like to chase some of those, but we're not. Oh, see that bison rubbing on the pole over there? See him scratching? Yes. Yeah. So he could learn right away about all the animals whom he was going to eventually to live with here in Kelly. And then we came back and he met right away AJ and Burley and Goo, the dogs whom he has still lived with, who come in and out of the dog door. So in other words, he was swamped with new stimuli every day in an attempt to make him a steady dog who would accept everything possible in his world.
Lange, gesund, glücklich. Ein Hundeleben. Durch Freiheit, durch Freundschaft und Respekt, durch Aufgaben, Bewegung und durch die Ernährung.
Look, there's some elk. Oh, yes. Yes, look at them. Your favorites.
Das sind Teds Pfeiler, nach denen Pukka lebt.
There must be 100 of them, but I don't see any big bulls, just cows. But that's good enough for us, because that's who we eat. Look at all of them in the snow. Oh my goodness.
Pukka trägt auch kein Halsband, das mit womöglich krebserregenden Stoffen hergestellt wurde. Zudem würde Ted niemals Rasen mit Giftchemikalien behandeln, denn Tiere tragen keine Schuhe. Und Hunde sollen nur im äußersten Notfall kastriert oder sterilisiert werden. Das verhindere Krebs.
Pukka, look at the antelope. Yeah, right there.
Glücklich wird Pukka bestimmt leben, wahrscheinlich auch gesund. Aber wird er auch lange leben? Länger als die 10 bis 12 Jahre, die Labradore durchschnittlich alt werden?
There must have been 50 or 60 of them, sir. Yes.
Als wir Pukka das letzte Mal gesehen haben, war Ted Karasotis Labrador 5 Jahre alt. Jetzt wird er bald 15.
There you go. There you go. Very good.
Didn't he see it or didn't he want to?
He didn't see it. There's a cone of vision that he has now, and if the frisbee or another toy goes below or above that, he can't see it. There you go. One of the joys of having a dog who's longer lived is you get so many more years with him. The hard part, the flip side of that, is to watch this incredibly powerful being that was just indomitable and could do anything. Watch slowly decline and no longer be the creature with whom you shared those monumental times in the outdoors. Very good, sir. Ready? Oh, there we go. Good recovery, sir. Oh my goodness. When he was 10, one veterinary said when his back end started to go, and this is 4.5 years ago, one veterinarian said, you should think about letting him go. 4.5 years later, he's still with us. So I do not make any predictions about my dogs. How much longer does he have? And I simply don't know. And so I've decided to go day by day, week by week, and enjoy the time we have together. Good job, sir. Well done. Oh, that magic sound. Looks like regular old kibble, but it's a low-fat, special kibble. There we go. Right. Bon appetit, monsieur. Bon appetit.
No more raw food?
No more raw food.
How come?
'Cause it's started really giving him acid reflux, and he was gagging with it. So the first thing I had to cut out was his raw vegetable desserts. The broccoli, the cauliflower, the peppers that he loved so much after eating dinner. And he was shattered when I no longer gave it to him. He'd go to the fridge and look in there and say, what's happened? Why can't I have my dessert? Ho-ho! There's nothing left. I think you've polished it off, sir. Well done. That's it. Pukka was 5 when you filmed here last time, and between the time he was 5 and I would say 12, he was an extremely active, exuberant dog, and did lots of skiing, hiking, hunting, biking, traveled a lot with me. And then right about when he was 12, he had a variety of orthopedic problems. If one asked about myself, are you a healthy person after 2 hip replacements, a knee replacement, an ankle replacement, back surgery, knee surgery, shoulder surgery, I'd say, yeah, I'm a pretty healthy person. So I think Pukka has been a pretty healthy dog despite a shoulder surgery and lumbosacral disease, which has impinged the L4 nerve root and has impinged his gait on his right rear foot. But we've dealt with that. What do you think, sir? Oh, yes! Good stretch, sir. Good stretch. Oh, yes. He is an old dog at 14 and a half, and he's a big dog. He weighs 70 pounds. And the data for weight of a dog and age, the 2 graphs, if the age of the dog goes like this, the graph of age goes like that. Heavier dogs, bigger dogs, do not live that long. What's the average lifespan of a Great Dane? 8 years, 9 years. Of an Irish Wolfhound, 6 years. So yes, I'm thrilled that he's gotten 14 and a half years, and I hope he gets some more years. And I think I need to eat something or I'm going to get acid reflux.
So we do that.
Früher Sonntagmorgen in Kelly. Der erste Frost kündigt hier am Fuße der Teton Mountains den langen Winter an. Die Straße war vor ein paar Jahren noch nicht geteert. Von Burley und AJ keine Spur. Dabei stünde die Hundeklappe immer noch für alle offen. Aber Pukka hat sie alle überlebt.
Pukka, come. Come on. There we go. Perhaps there's something here in the Kelly water that's good for dogs, or perhaps there's the general environment of being able to roam freely. Oh, AJ's got it. Very good, AJ. Very good. Very good. AJ passed away at 15 and a half years old. Oh, and here's Burley. Oh, we've got everyone here. Oh, 3 on the stick. Burley, unfortunately, was hit by a car in front of the cafe over yonder when he was 12 and a half. So he never had the opportunity to live out all the years he might have. And Goo died at about 12 years old. He was an English setter, and no one knows really what the cause of his death was. It is much quieter here in my house. Sunday, August 2nd, 2020. I get on my bike and go for a ride with Pukka. Partway down the trail, he finds a perfect stick, 1 inch in diameter, smooth, 3 feet long. When I pause to see what he's doing, he brings it to me and I toss it. He fetches it briskly, not sore at all. He just wants to retrieve, not bike ride. On we go. Pukka bearing the stick. Finally, at the downhill section to the river, he abandons the stick. We go along the rocky outwash plain of the river, scattered with willow, and there, as he moves through the dappled light of the cottonwoods, I see him, sleek and young and innocent in his first summer, 11 years ago, when we first walked this trail. And my heart gives a lurch as a pang goes through it. Where did all those years go so quickly?
Welche Pläne hat Ted für eine Zeit nach Pukka? Da steht nur eines fest. Es wird keinen anderen Hund neben ihm geben.
And I know a lot of friends who have hunting dogs. As one dog gets older, they get a puppy, so the dog can teach the puppy, and what they say is the puppy makes the old dog younger. Well, what I've seen in every single case was the old dog for a month or two hates the younger dog, almost universally, and then finally accepts that this is the new status quo, I can't do anything about it, I better accept it. And people say, oh, the dog really loves the new puppy. I don't think that's the case.
Als Merle, Teds Hund, starb, suchte er jahrelang nach einem Labrador, der ihn ersetzen konnte. Ted wollte nichts dem Zufall überlassen, bis er schließlich Pukkas Mutter fand. Vor ein paar Jahren machte er sich wieder auf die Suche nach einer passenden Partnerin für Pukka. Das war fast genauso kompliziert.
I have a website you can still see called breedingpukka.com, in which all his genetic information is, all his health tests, and his pedigree stretching all the way back to 1868. So he has a superb pedigree, and his coefficient of inbreeding is very low, which means that he doesn't have a lot of common ancestors in his near background. And that's a really important thing whenever you're thinking of getting a dog, is to see what the coefficient of inbreeding is for that litter. So I advertised and I called breeders who had females whom they were advertising for studs, and none of them wanted to breed to Pukka. Despite all these good genetic tests and having good hips, good elbows, having this royal pedigree, they said, does he have any field trial titles? And I said, well, no, I've never done field trials with him. It's not something I wanted to do. They said, sorry, if he had his master's hunting certificate or if he was some kind of field champion, I could get $5,000 each for one of his puppies. As it is, I can get $1,000 for one of his puppies. So if I have 10 puppies out of his litter, you do the math. So I was unable to find a breeder for a long time, and as it happened, a chiropractor friend who worked on dogs and horses here, he lives over in Lander, one day he said, oh, I'm going to stop at Mark Hinchenberger's house tomorrow, an old friend, and he's got a yellow lab too. He'd really like to breed her. I said, really? This was the first time you told me? And I called up Mark and I said, has Washakie had all her tests? And he said, no, but I'm happy to do them. So he got her genetically tested to make sure she didn't have a gene for the terrible diseases that labs can get. And Washakie was all clear. So we would meet on Togedy Pass and they would have a date.
So how will he react when he meets his kin?
Badger, his son, and Washakie, his mate, he might not even get out of the car. He might say, we were just here 2 weeks ago. That's enough of a visit. We'll see. I'm not predicting anything. Siri, read the text.
Cheryl sent a new message. Just a very quick message. I adore you. Smiley, have a great day, my stars at the screen. Love you, XOXO, and sent a hearts card suit emoji. Would you like to reply?
Not right now.
That's everything.
That sounded like love.
She was a skier and a climber and backpacker, so we have a lot in common. And she's got a 25-year-old daughter named Emma.
You don't have kids of your own?
I don't, not that I know of. So it's nice to have Emma in my life now. It's probably the only regret I had. I wish I had had kids. So Mark's place is right up there on the hill. Here they are. There's Washakie. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You want to see your kin here, Pukka?
Badger. Let him get out, okay? Hey, Badger. Badger, come on.
So, I want to see my dad. Okay. There you go.
All the puppies were this color in here, white, compared to Key has this kind of fox red color on her ears and stuff. He's starting to get a little darker now, but he was way light. They were all really light except for Teton, which is over in Vermont. He was a color of Labradors that AKC doesn't recognize. It's called fox red. so they just call it Yellow. Yeah, AKC, American Kennel Club. It's Badger's registered. I could enter him in shows if I wanted, but he's not intact anymore, so it wouldn't probably do any good. But
Pukka and these dogs are more field trial style dogs than show Labradors. Their faces are more elongated. The show Labradors have these much wider heads.
But I had one yellow lab that was of that type, that had the more blocky face, shorter muzzle, and short legs. And
Pukka wants to go back in the car. I still remember Mark brings Washiki to meet Pukka. And so Mark lets out Washiki and I let Pukka out. And Pukka looks over and there's this Vizsla that comes out of Theo's office, very sleek, fox red color. And he looks at Washiki, he looks over at the Vizsla, he is gone. And he is mobbing that Vizsla. Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, would you like to come home with me? Let me follow you around. So I went and got him and brought him back to Washiki. Washiki went, "Arr." Pukka was back at the Vizsla. And I thought, this is a really poor way to start a romance.
Mark und Ted gehen beide auf die Jagd.
No, we're not gonna go. Could, but come on.
Ihre Labrador Retriever haben dann den Job, die Beute zu holen.
Hey, you guys sit down? Sit. Both of you sit. Come on, sit down. All right, you stay. Both of you stay. Badger, Key, go get it. Oh, you're gonna get them both? Come on, bring
Good
it
job,
here.
Badger.
Good boys.
Pukka, you want to try one of these big ducks? Let's see if you can.
Go get the other one. Bring it here. Ah, girl.
Beim Upland Hunting stöbern die Hunde aktiv die Vögel auf, sodass der Jäger sie dann erschießen kann.
I have to be careful with him. If he turns toward his bad leg, he can go right down. Oh, is that the best? Very good, sir. Oh, so the ducks got you excited.
Beim Waterfowl Hunting muss der Hund sich genauso verstecken wie der Jäger. Ein Geduldsspiel.
I don't think he's ever retrieved a duck. Because the first time I took him waterfowl...
Well, neither she may have done a duck. He never has, because I've never shot any roll. I haven't shot any for 5 years, but she's retrieved geese.
He saved the day with these ducks. So Pukka has never really liked waterfowl hunting. I've taken him 3 times, and each time he has said, this sitting in a blind is the most boring thing I've ever done. I'm not... The last time we went, parked at the same spot, opened the hatch, he wouldn't get out of the car.
Oh, really?
No. Said, I am a totally different reaction from if we went upland hunting, which was barking his head off, and he's no barker, but we'd go up, he'd see the upland vest come out, and he would start jumping in the air.
Come here, bud. Go down here. Attaboy. Right, good job. Can you make it up there? You get the other guy on there? There you go. All right. All right, buddy.
Okay. Well, you improved your disposition. Thanks for getting those ducks out, Mark.
All right, buddy. Take care, man.
Till next time.
Okay.
Good seeing you.
And good seeing you, Ted.
Badger, Washki. Good seeing you. Yeah. Yeah. Good seeing you guys. Yeah. Okay. Ja, good seeing you again.
Als Ted Carusotti das Buch Pukkas Promise veröffentlichte, ahnte er, dass man ihn daran messen wird. Hält er sich an all das, was er, wissenschaftlich belegt, vorschlägt, damit der Hund ein langes, gesundes und glückliches Leben führt? Fast zeitgleich gab es einen Biologen, der sich mit einer ganz ähnlichen Frage beschäftigte. Und an der University of Washington das Dog Aging Project gründete.
This is the Dog Aging Project, which is trying to figure out what factors are involved in producing longer-lived dogs. And so I believe they have about 47,000 dogs registered now. And there is the certificate that is Pukka's notification that he was enrolled. So it appears that Pukka was the 37,014th dog to be enrolled in this. I think what they're trying to determine are all the factors, which are the most important factors in creating longer-lived dogs.
The Dog Aging Project, we conduct rigorous scientific research designed to define, explain, and ameliorate the effects of aging. To achieve this mission, we have built a community of volunteers and researchers united by a shared love for dogs and committed to helping dogs and humans live longer, healthier lives together.
Was lässt Hunde altern? Und wie kann man das stoppen? Um das herauszufinden, sammelt das Dog Aging Project seit über 10 Jahren Daten.
Dogs are aging biologically about 7 to 10 times faster than people do. So what that means is that they are going to be at greater risk for all of the same age-related diseases and functional declines that people experience. It's just going to happen much more rapidly. I think the promise of a project like the Dog Aging Project is that if we can understand what those mechanisms of aging are, we can actually do something about it to slow that process and increase the likelihood that dogs are going to live long, healthy, happy lives. That's the goal.
Von Anfang an hatte man aber nicht nur den Hund im Blick.
I'm really most interested in understanding which aspects of aging are shared across the animal kingdom. We know about some things that, at least in mice, can increase lifespan and health span metrics by 20, 30%. Some of those are going to work in dogs, no doubt about it. So we have the opportunity where we could actually increase healthy longevity for people's pets, my pet, by 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And when that crystallized in my mind, it was like there was no looking back. I knew I had to do this. What would it take to actually design a clinical trial to prove that a longevity intervention could increase lifespan and health span in companion dogs? And I mapped that out, and then I thought, okay, what should we test? What's the best thing to try? If we really only get one shot at this, we want to have our best shot on goal, and rapamycin was the obvious choice.
Rapamycin ist ein Immunsuppressivum. Es unterdrückt also das Immunsystem. Das hilft vor allem bei Transplantationen und verhindert, dass zum Beispiel eine fremde Niere abgestoßen wird. Rapamycin hat Nebenwirkungen und davon eine ganz besondere. Fruchtfliegen und Mäuse leben länger, wenn sie es bekommen. Professor Käberlein will nun aber eine noch bessere wirkende Pille entdecken. Mit Hilfe von Würmern, Robotern und künstlicher Intelligenz.
We should be able to find interventions that have a bigger effect than rapamycin on longevity. And I think it's pretty clear that in the last 20 years, the field has in many ways stagnated in the discovery of new longevity interventions. Nobody has found something that works better than rapamycin in the last 20 years. So yes, that is one of my goals has been to create technologies that will enable us to do large-scale searches for new longevity drug discovery. And that's why we created the Wormbot, which is a robotic system coupled with AI that allows us to do thousands of experiments simultaneously.
Adult worms are about 1 millimeter in length. Yeah. So real small, but you can see them with the naked eye. But there's so much going on. It's such a cool animal because they're transparent and they have small number of neurons and cells, and everything is so basic, but right there for you to look at under a scope. This is a larger drug screen. So we have on these plates, I think with these 12 plates, we have about 27 different drugs that we're looking at with controls as well to find some other reasons to use this drug. So maybe something that might have been originally used for like a cancer treatment. Is there maybe some other beneficial reason to use it for just simply increasing lifespan, or maybe there's another kind of disease model that it would be appropriate to use for? So we're snapping about 5 images a day. So these are from Wednesday, from Tuesday. We are tracking the worms until they die. So we're snapping images, how they're moving, how they're attracted to food, where are they at on the well.
So C. elegans is a nematode worm. They don't look at all like earthworms. They actually look quite elegant. That's where that elegans comes from in their name. The reason why they're so useful for aging is because they go through an aging process that looks at a molecular level very similar to aging in mice and people. They show functional declines of age, but they do it in about a month. So that means we can test the lifespan effect of a drug in a month, or if we're lucky, 2 months, if the drug doubles lifespan, right?
And that's how we do that.
Was an der Washington University begann, ist zu einem Pharma-Startup geworden, das in den nächsten 3 bis 5 Jahren eine lebensverlängernde Pille finden will. Erst für den Hund, dann für den Menschen.
So what you'll see here, these top 2 wells are animals not given any sort of intervention. These are living and dying normatively. With this, we have 2 control animals. So these ones on the top 2 are animals given nothing. They're living, dying, aging normatively. At the bottom, these animals are given a micromolar dose of this novel drug that we found to have an effect upon lifespan. And so what you'll see here is bounding boxes appear over the animals in real time as our AI platform determines that they've died. So I'm going to press play on the video. When an animal dies, a bounding box will be overlaid on it. That's when our machine learning pipeline and our AI platform have determined that that animal has ceased movement and has died. And every image here is a 1 hour time lapse frame rate. So at this point, we've actually been watching 15 days worth of observations as these animals are living on these plates. And so what we can see by this point is all the controls have died. The animals not given the drug are all dead, and we still have this persistent amount of movement and life down below. And so what you can see here is that this drug is having a really incredibly strong effect, even at this low dosage. And so this is an exciting thing where we wouldn't have necessarily found this drug had we been doing a biased screening. It was our unbiased methodology of throwing as many compounds at the ball that let us actually develop this. In the end, everything dies. So we haven't yet developed an immortal worm. I think that from the perspective of myself as a biologist, I am not looking to find something that makes us immortal. I grew up in a little fishing town in Alaska, and I was lucky enough that, my grandmother's helped raise me, and my great-grandmother lived to 111. She was the oldest person in Alaska at one point. And, I saw how well she aged, and until she had an accident and a fall in the last couple of years of her life, she was with it and active and healthy. And then in comparison, her daughter, my grandmother, despite having very similar genetics, she's 90, she's had health issues for a decade and probably won't see her 100th birthday. And so, people would always joke, Ben, you must have great genetics. Your grandmother lives so long. I'm like, yeah, hopefully I do. Hopefully I got those genes. But fundamentally, what's more deterministic than your genetics is what you experience as an individual going through life, be it your lifestyle, the medicine you take, what kind of stuff happens to you. And so from a perspective of changing human health, I'm more excited about, finding a novel drug that I can take and will help me live more like my great-grandmother.
Would you take it?
If it didn't have any side effects, sure, why not? I've got a lot of books left to write, and I don't see enough years, even if I live to 120, to write all the books I'd like to write. So you bet. Okay, Sir. Shadow Mountain.
10 Jahre lang haben wir Ted Karasotti und seinen Labrador Pukka begleitet. Ja, der Hund ist wackelig auf den Beinen, aber er ist ansonsten gesund und glücklich sowieso. Vielleicht wird er wirklich 20 Jahre alt?
Oh, very good, sir. Haven't been up here in a while. There we go. Excellent. Maybe we'll find a grouse, eh?
Ob es in Teds Leben nach Pukka noch einen Hund geben wird? Falls ja, dann wird er diesmal nicht so lange suchen müssen.
You will have a dog after Pukka?
I don't know. That's a good question. It's not one I want to answer right now.
It's the toughest one for a dog lover.
Yeah. Yeah, let's not talk about that, eh, Pukka? Let's not talk about that. Oh my goodness, a good butt scratch. Could not be better. Up here on Shadow Mountain in this glorious golden light. Oh my goodness, this glorious September light. Long, healthy, happy, a dog's life. I think he has. I think he's had an incredibly fulfilling, happy life. When I wrote Pukka's Promise, I wanted to see, can I walk my talk? Can I see if what I wrote about actually has traction, actually works? And of course, my N is one dog. But it has worked, and Pukka is the result 14 and a half years later. So, yeah, my advice is don't make an impulse buy when it comes to a dog. First time I was very, very lucky, exceedingly lucky. The next time I stacked the odds in my favor, and I've had incredibly good results. Pukka's been an incredible dog. Just like his name, genuine and first class.
How long did you wait after Merle?
How long did I wait? 5 years. But 3 of those years, I was looking for Pukka and couldn't find him. It was a cross-the-country search, and I just couldn't find dogs that were calm enough, collected enough, athletic enough. But luckily, I finally found Abby, his mom, and his dad, Taylor. And
so maybe an offspring of them would be a possible...
Well, back when I was breeding Pukka, I froze a bunch of his sperm. Is sitting down in Fort Collins in a cryogenic vault. And so there is Pukka sperm waiting to be used if necessary. So their possibility would be to find a suitable female and have a dog with similar characteristics. Oh, sir, just hanging out here, eh? as the sun goes down.